The Peacemaker and Ionwatha formed the plan for a great league of peace. The nations which had been at war would join together. They worked together for 5 years, establishing the Great League, top of page 35. Then they returned together to Onondaga. Andrarthan, who had done all he could to work against this league, knew they were coming. He hid himself so that no one could find him. But among the Onondagas were two men who could transform themselves into animals. One of them became a bear and the other became a deer, and they went into the forest to seek out Anandrahan. When they came back, they said, "We have found Anandrahan. He is terrible to see. His body has 7 great bends in it, and his hair is filled with snakes." Then the Peacemaker and Ionwatha went with a great multitude of people to the place where Anandrahan was hiding. As they went, they sang the peace hymn, which Ionwatha had taught the people, the song given him by the great turtle. Their powerful song pierced the air like the cry of the eagle. And they came at last, singing the peace hymn, to Anandrahan's lodge. Hi, hi, agawa wio, hi, hi, agawa wio. Top of page 36. They sang to heal the mind of Anandrahan, and when he heard the hymn of peace, he could not move. Then the Peacemaker and Ionwatha entered Anandrahan's lodge. The Peacemaker held out his hand and straightened Anandrahan's body. Ionwatha combed the snakes from his hair. With his body and his mind healed, Anandrathan stood and joined them. Together they dug a hole in the earth and threw the weapons of war into it. Then they planted a pine tree there. The 4 roots of the pine stretched to the north and the west, the south and the east, just like the roots of the corn plant that Ionwatha saw. That tree stood for their League of Peace. Its roots were white, like the path of peace, and it was said that anyone could trace those roots back to the pine tree and sit under its branches in peace. On top of the pine tree they put an eagle, to keep watch and see if anyone was going to threaten the peace. In its claws that eagle held 5 arrows, which stood for the 5 nations of our people. Alone you can break 1 arrow easily, but when you tie 5 arrows together, it is hard to break them. That is the way we would be. United we would be strong. Together we would work for peace. So the Great League of Peace was formed by our Iroquois people long ago. Richard Bigtree paused. You know what happened to Anandrathan? Danny opened his eyes, almost surprised to see his apartment around them. No, he answered. They set him up as the head of their great league. To this day, his name is passed down to the Onondaga chief, who is chosen to head the great council meetings. You see, son, we believe that a bad human being can be made into a good human being. They can even become leaders, so they can use their energy to do good instead of bad. That is our way. Danny thought of Tyrone and Brad. You going to tell that story to my class? Think I should? I like that story. I think they need to hear it in my school. I think so too, Richard Bigtree said, running his fingers along the wings of the Eagle of Peace painted on his hard hat.